Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online. G'day and welcome to the show. As I bring you interesting content each and every week, I have a little bit of a mix for you that I know you'll enjoy. In this week's Classic Restos, on the road. First up, it's a story about a Volksy, but not just any old Volksy. This one is a little bit special, and it's owned by this lady right here. Meet Kat Hawke, a car girl to the bone. Kat loves cars so much she takes professional photographs of them, and she works in a local auto parts store. Kat has a couple of loves in her life, but this first one is close to her heart, and for understandable reason. You've met Kat. Now meet Thelma, Kat's 1967 Volkswagen Type 3 Squareback. How cool is this? 1600 dual port with a twin carb sucking through the atmosphere. Thelma has a 4-speed manual to get herself moving, and vision is via original glass. She had travelled 74,000 miles at time of Kat finding her, and she is graced in a gorgeous Baltic Blue colour, which happens to be original. It gets better. This unique Type 3 was imported from California back in 2013. And of course, she remains left-hand drive, just like it should. This beautiful Survivor car has endured 4 owners, and it's sat in a barn, with not a lot to do, in New Mexico for 20 years. Originally, the car was from Roswell. And yes, Kat checked for some little green men hiding under the seats when it arrived. This car was featured in a TV ad for VW Japan and an advertising campaign for Sports Girl, reflecting how cool this vintage German jigger is. It's also pulled off 6 times VW Nationals Type 3 champion and has been awarded one of the top 10 VWs in Australia 2014. Geez, I need to go and have a lay down. Time for Kat now. How are you?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Great. This windy day, we got Thelma out.
Yes, we got her out for a run.
This really is a different car, isn't it?
It is. It's a very special little car.
I'm amazed that we've seen Type 3s in the past, but it's not every day that you find one that sat in the barn in New Mexico, in the United States of America, for 20 years. Now, I think any vehicle that's taken out of a shed or a barn from any country is interesting. So tell us more about her time in the barn, or what you know.
So it was bought in Roswell, New Mexico, and it got driven around for, I think it was 10, 11 years. The husband couldn't drive anymore. Wife couldn't drive, didn't have a license. Husband died, wife left it in the barn. She eventually passed away. The son ended up inheriting it. And yeah, so he pulled it out of the barn after 20 years, and here it is.
Have you had to do much to it since you've had it?
No, it's had a little bit of an attention by the guy I bought it off in LA. Yeah, it did get a new lick of paint. I don't know if that was necessary or just someone being fussy, but yeah, other than that, it's the original chrome. It's had a new engine, but unfortunately these things happen, so yeah.
So about the engine, what can you tell us?
So it's a 1600 dual port twin carb, which is standard for this model, but they did come in a 1500 as well. And yeah, when they went to go replace the motor instead of rebuilding it, they managed to find one that was still sitting in a crate from the 60s in the back of a mechanic's shop, so in it went.
I must say how I love how you've kept it left-hand drive.
Yes, yeah, it's good fun. The cops don't like it when they pull you over. They tend to ask my passenger seat for a licence check, but it's good fun.
Where's the steering wheel?
Yeah, we have had a couple of nights of fun where Matty takes the spare steering wheel out of his Beetle and we go for a drive with 2 steering wheels, but
Now, speaking of the body cat, the bright work, as you mentioned, the chrome, the wheel covers, the shiny stuff, immaculate, really immaculate condition. It's obvious beyond words that this car obviously hasn't had a hard life.
No, it's been very much loved. The people I bought it off in LA tidied it up to basically to keep it forever. Turns out college fees are really expensive, so yeah, they didn't want it to go. And as Keith, the guy I bought it off, said that he couldn't have thought of a better person to go to. I love this car beyond words, so it gets a lot of care. Yeah. That's
brilliant. Now, to think you've gone through that importing process, that's absolutely wonderful. It's an award-winning car too.
It is. It's had, I think it was 6 VW Nationals trophies. One of the best trophies it got was actually top 10 at Valor, which is a big Volkswagen festival every 2 years at up on Nambucca Heads. There's Volkswagens come from all over Australia. People put them on trains from Perth. So that was arguably probably the one I valued the most, because that was truly the yardstick. But you know, I don't go out to get trophies, but it's nice to get that acknowledgement.
As Preston Tucker once said, the engine is in the back, where it ought to be.
That's right. The rear-wheel drive does like it there.
Well, how cool are you? Kat, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time this morning. Having Thelma, this incredible imported Type 3 from the United States of America, here in New South Wales. It's been an absolute pleasure. Kat, thank you.
Thank you, Fletch. I appreciate it. What does Thelma mean to me? Thelma is everything. Until I had a boyfriend, she was everything. No, she's my escape. She's my prized possession. She's my time out when I need to just work on something else. I don't know, she's just something special. I can't quite put it into words. I don't see myself as Thelma's owner. I'm just the one that gets to take care of her for this little while and make sure that she survives a bit longer. And hopefully when the time comes, someone else will be suitable to take care of her next. So yeah, it's an honour. Driving Thelma on my own up a nice country road is just bliss. It is where I'm meant to be. I often describe to people driving this car as like I'm not holding a wheel, it's just an extension of one of my limbs. It is just the most perfect feeling. It's fantastic.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons.
We've also got Shannons home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannons.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride. Well, how good was Kat and her amazing Type 3? It's time now for a bloke shed to take up the rest of the show. Or maybe not so much the shed, but what's inside. Let's go take a look. It's time now to meet Keith, a semi-retired panel beater, and meet the other child, his rotty dog, Zara. Zara never leaves Keith's side, and she helps to complete each and every day for Keith, especially these days. There's no expensive toys for Zara. Give her a piece of sheet metal to play with, and she'll go all day. It's a bit like Keith himself. Keith is thankfully okay now, but a couple of major health issues recently has given this man a new lease on life. So now for Keith, it's onwards and upwards. Keith is a craftsman and was once at the helm of over 20 staff at his shop. Keith lives and breathes cars. At home in his large barn that looks a bit like the Ark, Keith takes on his projects that would leave most of us in the dust, literally. A restoration is one thing, but when it becomes a necessity to make your own panels, shaping the metal and working it to near perfect, that's another skill set that only some can master and appreciate. from restoring a stock HG Holden wagon through to a customised 1955 Chevy truck, there's always something different every day for Keith to wake up to and walk down to his shed for.
Well, what this shed means to me, it's a place where I can just come, lose myself in it, you know, and myself and my dog. My wife's at work all day, so, you know, this is the place we are, you know, and it gives me, it's the first time I've been able to have I had a business where I was able to keep all my toys, you know, but then when I sold that, I had stuff all over the place, you know, so by having this shed now, I was able to bring everything together, and it's all here now, you know, under one roof, you know, so that, you know, I don't have to go looking for anything. I don't have to think where everything is. I know where it all is now. The actual size of the shed is 24 by 12 all up, so which gives me plenty of room. I've already said to my wife I want to put an extension on it, but I don't like my chances. I've already planned it. I've started on the outside. Yeah, but in this shed I've got the Statesman here, which we salvaged from a was a bash car, and you can still see the wheels and suspension on it. And we was able to salvage that. And also then I've got the wagon here, which is behind me, which building up, which will be a pretty nice wagon. We'll talk about that, but that's getting done up. And that's my 55 up, Series 55, the last of the 55s, which had it all together as a 6-cylinder running as I brought it in from California, but then I had a crazy idea to pull it all apart and redo it all, you know. So it's now going to carry an LS1 and it's got a 9-inch and all fully independent suspension and that in it, you know. So that's the projects that are in the shed at the moment, you know, to keep me out of trouble for a little while. People say, why do you want to do it, you know, but it's what I've been doing all my life. I like cars. I've been into motor racing. I've been to America motor racing, which I've been very fortunate and had some real good success. So cars are in my blood, you know, and I've got a couple of boys, and one in particular, he's keen as mustard. He wants me to build cars, and he wants to be part of it too, you know. So that's the enjoyment I get out of it, that my son wants to be involved too. Behind me here, we've got a HQ Statesman, which is a genuine 350 auto, all the gear. It was actually a bash car. It was being used for a bash car till someone pointed out to him, the owner of it, of what it's actually worth these days, you know. So as you can still see, it's still got the wheels and everything on it, the rally wheels. It's right, you can see how high it is off the ground, and so it's still basically. But what it's here for now is it's a couple of year rebuild. I'll totally rebuild it from ground up, you know. So just into straightening a few or fixing all the panels and that, you know. So yeah, it's a massive job, but it's been in a couple of hands, unfortunately, before it reached here. So we are missing quite a bit of small stuff, which we have to hunt the country to try and find. You know, we've been able to find some pieces, and I'm sure we'll find pieces as we go along. This car in particular, before I got it, somebody had started restoration on it, you know, but once getting it here, wasn't very happy with what the work was done, so gone back to starting all over again. As you can see by the doors and that are all around, they've all been bare metalled and reprimed, and they're about to get a coat of polyester, and I'll reblock them again, and then they'll be reprimed, you know. So along with the bonnet, along with all the panels of it. The only thing is the roof I don't have to worry about, because this car originally had a black vinyl roof. So it's going back to original as close as we can with a black vinyl roof. Yeah, well, it is a genuine 350 car, you know. We've got all the plates that all match up, and it's all matching number right through, you know. We've tracked that all down to find that it is all a matching number, and it was a shame to see it being used as a bash car, you know. So hopefully we can give it a new life and a new history, you know, another life. Zara is my dog. She's a 2.5-year-old Rottweiler, and when I was crook, she was the dog that sat beside my feet in the house when I couldn't get out of the place, you know. She was beside me all the time, you know. And now today, I still can't move without her being at my feet, you know, and she's just a darling, you know, like.
I've been a motoring enthusiast all my life. My Coupe 4 is rare and very special. A real performance car with all-wheel drive grip. I'm not a car club bloke and I don't work on it myself, but I do have a great mechanic. One day, I might even get that HQ. When it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons.
Shannons shares your passion. Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network. Have a look for your nearest Holden Certified Service Centre at holden.com.au, and let's keep supporting Australia's own.
Behind me here is a 71 HG Holden. The 71 HG Holden wagon, which is actually one of my sons. He wants to rebuild it, which we're going to do. It's he brought it down from Queensland. He bought it up in Queensland and brought it down here, and all looked good when it turned up. But we got it sandblasted, and well, then it uncovered some nasties, you know. But everything's repairable, and we've got all the panels to repair it, all the new stuff to go into it, and that, you know. So we'll keep Dad going for a while. He wants to keep me off the streets, he reckons, you know. So that's going to happen. But this is going to be a pretty good build, because he's got a full fabricated front end going in it, all the rear ends getting done, going to be tubbed out. It's got a brand new 383 built for it, turbo 400. So it's going to be a pretty smick wagon. I asked him a question about why do you want a wagon. He said, I just like the shape of the wagon, Dad. You know, he said, everyone's got sedans and I like the wagon, you know. And I said, well, that's fair enough, mate. You know, and believe it or not, after he started talking about it, I started looking around and looking in magazines and stuff like that. I've got to agree with him, the wagon doesn't look too bad neither, you know. And the other thing is, I don't like the holes in bonnets, you know, so everything will be kept underneath the bonnet, you know. So yeah, that's one stipulation from me for it, you know, that everything's got to stay under the bonnet. You know, that's just the way I see things, you know, and you know, he's happy to go along with it. He's got to be anyway, because I'm the one building it. So he's over the years, early in his stages, everything was sort of sedans and that, you know. But now everybody's being a bit more diverse, you know. They're going to utes and panel vans, you know, and not necessarily just holding them forwards, but you got, which used to be the go, but now it's the Valiants, you know, Dodges, all sorts of things, you know, which is good to see, you know. Like I don't mind, like I like a Mini Minor. If it's done right and it looks nice, I give it, you know, my tick of approval too, you know. Like, and it's not, you don't have to have the big forwards and the, you know, well, we're Chev, I'm a Chev person, you know, but that doesn't mean to say that that's all right, you know. Like, you know, so it's just good to see nice cars, you know. Like, I don't mind what they are. You know, with cars, my perspective of cars, everybody's got their own choices, you know. Like, and I appreciate that, you know, because when I go to a car show, I like to see different cars, you know. I like to see minis. I don't V-dubs or anything, but it's good to see effort that's been put into these cars, you know. Like, I don't mind what it is. It could be a mini moke. It wouldn't matter to me. But if I can see the workmanship and the time that's been put into it, I give credit for that, you know. And that's I'm pretty broad-minded with vehicles, you know. As long as effort's been put in properly, you know. And I know, and I also understand the other side of the coin. Some people can only afford what they have, you know, and they think that's great. Well, that's good too, you know. Like, gives them encouragement to stay in the game and you know, have their cars and that, you know. So behind me here is my 55 truck that I brought in from California. It came in as a 6-cylinder. It was a driving car. I pulled it all apart probably about 7 years ago, and I put it all back together as a 6-cylinder. I ended up buying twin carburetors and headers and everything for it, and then had it all ready for the road, and then repainted it, and then got some silly idea that that wasn't good enough, you know, which I sort of kicked myself a little bit for today. I should have left it that way, you know, because it was a 4-speed with an overdrive, had an overdrive box in it and that, you know, on the back of it, which wasn't too bad to drive, you know. But then I got this silly idea to turn it into V8 and then that was all right. But then I went to the next step where I ended up getting all the chassis refabricated and that. Then we've redone all the chassis. It's all independent suspension and that in it, wheelwood brakes, and we've got an LS1 sitting in it, you know, which is about to go away to get rebuilt and that for it, you know. So once we put the V8 in it, then I found I had to modify the firewall and the transmission tunnel and that to get it all in. It was left-hand drive, and as you see, I've converted it to right-hand drive. I've cut all the dash and changed it over. Very luckily, the cab, the doors, I haven't even had to put one teaspoonful of body filler in the doors. They're like brand new, you know. The bonnet's the same. The guards are very, very good. I won't say they have had damage, but they're still very, very good. The cab, I had to replace half a floor pan because the window rubber was leaking, and obviously just dropping in that one spot on the left-hand side. So. But other than that, the cab's very good for us too, you know. All the corners, bottom corners and that, all perfect, you know. The rear end's all been notched and 5-litre rear end put in it, all running wheelwood brake, full wheelwood brake system through it and that. Yeah, and now I'm just working on the tub now to raise the floor to clear the notches and that in the back of the tub and that, you know. So it's one project I am looking forward to getting on the road. Just like to say thanks to Fletch for taking the opportunity to come and have a look in my shed and show you people out there what I have got and what I'm doing, you know. And maybe it'll be an inspiration for everyone else to have a tinker. Every man's got to have a hobby shop, you know. You've got somewhere to escape, you know. And like my wife says, this is my second home to me, so, which is good. I don't get in much trouble down here. You know?
Keith, I love your shed. You've got a great place here.
Yeah, Fletch, yeah, very good. You know, like something I've worked towards, you know, and this is home now forever, I think. You know, so
it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is a great feeling, you know. Like we've got everything here that we need now, you know, and I'm more than happy. You know, it's given me a new life actually, you know. So yeah, no, you can't. I got no complaints at all with this shed. You know. Only I want it bigger. That's all.
I'm so pleased to hear that. You've had a new lease of life, which is fantastic. Good place in summer too. Got a high ceiling, fully insulated. Yeah. Good place to be.
Yeah. For sure, you know. Even got air conditioning out there if I want my son to hook it up, but I don't think I need that yet.
The dog with the sheet metal.
Yeah, if it's not a sheet metal, it's a log of timber or something like that. She's always don't need to buy too many toys for her. And a go-kart toy. There's 2 go-kart toys she's got, you know.
Mate, the dog of a panel beater.
That's it.
With a piece of sheet metal. I mean, that just goes hand in hand.
Teach her how to cut it though.
Good on you, Keith. I really appreciate the invitation into your shed here today, and I'm so pleased that life is great for you now. You've got some great things planned for the future as well. Your projects, your workmanship here, fantastic quality, and mate, you've really gone all out here with what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah. Thanks, Fletch. You know, yeah, I've gone. You know, I don't want to get too over the top. You know, but I am one. I don't like work to be hard, so I like equipment, you know, and as you might have seen, I've got TIGs and MIGs and folders and stuff like that, you know. And I do like equipment, you know, so I'm like a boy in a candy store, actually, you know. So.
Well, I tell you what we'll do. We'll come back when these vehicles are on the road, particularly, well, even if we choose we'll do the 350, the factory statesman, and the workmanship you're doing with the HG, with that wagon. And boy, haven't HG wagons got a following? They've all got followings now, haven't they?
Yeah, they've all got a following now. HQs are big, you know, and HGs, HTs.
To think that 350 factory car was a bash car. It still retained its original sills. Actually, it's fortunate it wasn't bashed around more.
It could have been a lot worse. You know, the chassis is good in it. You know, so the floor pans are good in it too. Really, done a little bit of work on the floor pans, but they're considering it's hasn't been too far off the road at any stage, I don't think. You know?
Well, you've seen just a bit of inside of Keith's shed and the projects that Keith is working on. So we will return one day when the wagon's on the road or the Statesman's on the road, whichever one comes first.
Truck, you know. I'd love to have my truck ready sometime middle of next year. You know, that's my plan.
Good on you, Keith. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Fletch. All right.
Well, that's it for this week's show. How cool was Kat and her amazing Type 3? And a little bit of what Keith is up to in his shed here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.